All right, you're listening to the Table 12 podcast. Danny Barr, Paul Marino, Rob Klein on the board. Gentlemen.
How you guys doing?
Good afternoon.
All right, long
How you
time
making
no
out,
see.
Dan? How you doing? Since you've been on assignment?
Yeah, the assignment.
Quite the assignment, I hear.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I'll give you a quick backstory. So for about a month, I was having some abdominal pain. I thought it was a pulled muscle or something. I was playing golf, you know, and but the pain wasn't going away. And it just gradually was getting in one spot, just in one spot right under my rib cage. And it was getting worse.
This side.
The right side.
Yeah. This side.
That would be the correct side.
There's only two choices, yeah, right or left.
And you know, it was getting worse, but I was ignoring it like I always do. And I honestly thought it was a pulled muscle in my abdomen. I really did think I twisted a muscle.
Because when you're golfing, that
right,
your swing takes in all of that, all those muscles. Yeah,
that's what I thought it was. But at the week it started getting worse. I started running a fever, and then I determined that I didn't have time for this because I had a tea time on Friday, and a birthday party to go to on Saturday, and Sunday was Father's Day, and Monday morning I had a meeting. So I figured, you know what?
Wait till Tuesday.
If it still bothered me after the meeting Monday morning, I'll go to the ER because, Rob, what do I preach?
I don't know. What do you preach?
You go to the ER. It's what I told you with your leg.
Don't go to the
Yeah,
doctor.
but you already said you're stubborn.
Yeah, I know, but you go to the ER.
You don't go to the doctor.
You don't go to the doctor.
They tell you to go to the ER.
You don't wait 3 days for a doctor's appointment and then go to the ER.
Right.
I just go to the ER.
Yeah, but you went to Newton.
Let me tell you something about Newton.
Can't wait.
I've never had better care.
Really?
I don't give a shit if you guys believe me or not.
I believe you.
I'm telling you.
You're the one that was there.
I'm telling you, from the ER to the observatory, which was next to ICU where they put me, through the surgery, through the recovery, the care could not have been any better. No, I could have not gone anywhere. Actually, I think if I had gone to a bigger hospital like Morristown or Hackensack, I wouldn't have gotten as good a care because they're too big.
Yeah, but Dan, didn't you say you were in the, to me, you were in the emergency? I don't want to, far be it for me to second guess anything here because it's not funny.
Well, you're just going to be wrong. But
well,
go
no,
ahead.
but I was going to ask you, isn't 10 hours a lot of time to be in the
I
ER?
wasn't in there 10 hours.
You told me 10 on the phone.
I always give an ER 6-7 hours. I know when I go to an ER,
It's not going to be an hour.
6-7 hours.
Okay.
Okay. I've already got that in my head. But in that 6-7 hours, I'm going to get an ultrasound. I'm going to get a CAT scan. I'm going to get a chest X-ray.
You're not in the waiting room.
Right. I'm not
there.
going to the doctor or anything, getting an appointment for a chest X-ray and then making another appointment for an ultrasound. They're going to knock them right out. Right. So within that 6 hours, I had all that done. And I gathered from the way they were talking, I wasn't going home. And the one doctor said, I don't even know how you got in here. And the nurse said, he walked in here. And I'm like, that's the truth. I walked in. I walked up to the desk, checked in. I said, yeah, I got abdominal pain and a little bit of a fever. And took me right in. And they were wonderful. And, and they said to me, we're going to send you for a CAT scan because you've got too much fluid in you for the ultrasound to read. So we're going to send you for a CAT scan. Just telling you now, it's going to take about 2 hours to get those results. But they kind of knew what it was. And what it was my gallbladder exploded.
Oh.
And now here's the crazy thing. It probably ruptured weeks ago.
Oh, my God.
And it was most likely the cause of my throat issues.
Really?
What?
So the ENT said my throat issue was reflux, acid reflux. Well, the gallbladder's pouring bile into my body, and that's causing acid reflux.
Makes sense.
So my liver infected, my kidneys were infected. They needed to put me on antibiotics overnight to try to get the gallbladder swelling to come down. Doctor comes in and he says, we're going to try to do laparoscopic so we don't scar you up too much. And I said, that's not an issue. I lifted my shirt. My stomach is a road map of scars. I said, I'm not worried about scarring. And he's like, okay, that's good to know because we might not be able to take it out that way. We might have to cut you. And I'm like, yeah, whatever you got to do. Well, they did. I basically had a cesarean section. I've been looking forward to telling you this because
I'm getting a pain
because you handle it so well.
Yeah, Paul, I'm going to have to get him a bucket.
I'm getting a pain in my left side, so that's not the same thing. I'm getting a hypochondriac pain.
That's a sympathy pain
on my left side,
right?
So I'm still okay right now.
Paul, look over on the desk. There's a little jug there. If
no,
you
no,
need
I'm not
that.
going to get sick. No,
we don't know.
No, I'm fine.
So
just get a little,
So the doctor says, I'm going to do everything I can to save your kidney. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was anything wrong with my kidneys. So I said, well, I appreciate that. Good looking out,
Yeah.
And then the next day, the problem with emergency surgery is that it's just that. It's emergency, so it's not scheduled. And
that's why they call it emergency,
and
right?
But the ORs are already scheduled. So you can't really bump somebody. So you got to kind of wait for an opening, And so I stayed on the antibiotic. I couldn't eat anything, couldn't drink anything.
Boy, I tell you, Rob, he had his gallbladder out. His voice sounds phenomenal now.
Yeah, that must have been the cause of it the whole time.
Well, here's the funny thing. So after the surgery, and I'm out of the hospital, and they did save my kidneys, and
that's good.
And my liver needs time to recover. He's like, he says your liver's going to have to work a little harder. I said, I spent 40 years pushing Jameson through my liver. I think my liver can handle a little extra work. But I went to the ENT after I was done, out of the hospital. But I had a drain in me. I had to keep a drain in me for a week.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't have the show last week with the drain in it.
I wanted nothing more than
right, Rob? I couldn't.
Than to show you.
Then you would have needed the bucket.
I wanted to show you my sack of bile so bad.
That's not something I'd be interested in.
I was going to send you pictures. It was.
I delete right away when I see something like that.
You don't have pictures now to show them?
No, I didn't take any. Well, I was very bloated from all the fluid, and I was a little self-conscious. I was body shaming myself. But
your voice has never been this strong.
I go to the ENT.
He hasn't talked for 2 weeks.
I go to the ENT. The growth was
EMT or ENT?
ENT, ears, nose, throat.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I should give you my notes.
Keep up, Paul.
I'm just asking questions as we go along. That's all.
I'm sorry. I mispronounced it. It's ear, nose, throat. So so I go see him, and the growth was on my left vocal cord. That's gone. But my right vocal cord is irritated from the surgery because they put a breathing tube down you. So I got to go back to the ENT, get scoped one more time just to get a clear bill of health. But so yeah, it was a hell of an experience. Then I go back to get the drain out, but it's still draining. The guy's like, doctor says, I'm wondering if we should leave it in another week. I said, no, you're taking it out. I'm tired of this. I can't sleep with it. I'm in the recliner. It sucks. So he's like, well, it's up to you. If I take it out, you need to pay attention to your symptoms for the next 4 or 5 days. If you start running a fever, you got to get back to the hospital. Okay, fine. Because I was still draining.
So now you've gotten past the 4 or 5 days.
Yesterday was day 5.
Good.
So I'm a little flush, but I think that's because I'm in the same room with you. But it's it was an experience.
Huh?
They had 20 pounds of fluid pumped into me. 20 pounds.
That's a lot.
It was uncomfortable.
Well, glad to see you came out of it okay.
Maybe next time don't wait so long.
Well, so I learned 2 really important lessons. Lesson 1, I'm not a doctor.
And you don't play one on TV.
And I don't play one on TV. And lesson 2, I'm not qualified to self-diagnose. So, I was on anti-inflammatory. I was treating everything for a pulled muscle. And, wasn't that?
Well, while you were sick, did you listen to our 2 shows?
I did not.
I think
Thanks
you
for the
said,
support.
Rob, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He said he
The
listened
first
to the
one you
first one.
listened to, he said. So now you're
Well,
backtracking?
Maybe I did. I don't remember.
That was the one with
Well,
Max.
any show that he's not on, he's not going to care about.
No,
but, you know.
not at all.
That's
But-
not true.
Now, the last one,
it's a little
I thought,
sarcastic.
I thought we did a pretty good job the first one, but we had a special guest, and I did more work for that one. The last one, I was tied up for a week. I was kind of like, we just wanted to get something out there. Not my best job, but
Yeah, that was a
and
punt.
we give you credit that we needed you back here, So
Well, thank you.
and we're happy that you're back and that your
Yeah.
vocal cords.
I might have listened to the first one. I don't think I listened to the second one. But listen, I was heavily medicated, man.
Mhm.
Heavily medicated.
Well, then you
and
might
then we would have been better.
Yeah, you might have gave us a good score if you were heavily medicated. Give
Well,
us a good rating.
I just don't remember it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I appreciate you guys.
No, we tried to.
Keeping it
We
going.
tried to keep it going. We didn't want to just divulge any of what was going on for obvious reasons. So we just I tried to come up with some things like, Dan's on assignment. Dan's doing some things. We sent them out on, he's coming back next week,
Dan's cruising the Greyhound terminal on 12th Avenue again.
No. But,
Dan's transitioning. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. It'll be Danielle now.
no, we wouldn't have liked that. I wouldn't have liked that at all.
I don't think we'd let you back on
I
the
don't
show.
think we
Well,
might have to rehire somebody.
that is not a very good attitude. Not very inclusive. But yeah, I was looking forward to coming back today. Don't make me regret it.
Glad to have you. But anyway, what else has been going on?
So
Besides all of that medical stuff.
yeah, well, we had 4th of July. We had a
Right.
terrible heat wave.
Terrible heat wave.
And then a horrible storm ripped through the area, and people are still suffering from it. But we had 4th of July, and which was nice. I went to Lake Mohawk and saw the fireworks at my buddy's house,
Right.
and it was nice.
Well, I was watching the festivities. A lot of things on July 4th. Actually July 3rd and 4th, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he had the Mount Rushmore speech, the president, and then the weather kind of interfered with his July 4th program for the day.
yeah, but it didn't stop it.
No.
That Mount Rushmore speech, I'm just blown away by how privileged it would be for any president to stand in front of that monument and make a speech.
Sure.
What a backdrop.
Can't get a better one.
Oh, they're doing the flyovers. It's like, it's just, we live in a beautiful country. I mean, think about it. You could conceivably be at the Jersey Shore one day and the next day be in South Dakota,
Yeah.
in the Black Hills, or go up to Montana, or go to Arizona and see the Grand Canyon. Or go to the Pacific Coast, which is stunning. And that's all within one continental country.
Yeah.
There's no other country like it.
No. It has all kinds of different types of weather.
The
scenery.
Rocky coast of Maine, Cape Cod. Just go to the Upper Peninsula of Massachusetts. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's amazing, and we're all in the same country.
I went to a wedding in Newport, Rhode Island, and I was right on. It was where all the mansions were.
Right.
True Lies was the place where we had the reception. Was where True Lies was filmed. And you go out the back. It's a marble deck overlooking all the way. Just the ocean hitting the rocks.
Were you at Marble House? Do you remember that? Which house you were at?
No, but it was that the house.
It's probably Marble House.
Yeah, because it was right next to the Vanderbilts and all of that.
So there's 3 right next to each other: Marble House, Rosemont, I think it's called, and then the Breakers, which is the big one.
It was 30 years ago. I don't know which one I was at.
But you go out that cliff walk, and you can walk the cliff walk.
Yeah.
And see, Newport's gorgeous.
Yeah, we were there 30 years ago for a wedding. But
and they were summer homes.
yeah, we stayed right in the town of Newport in the Viking Hotel, right in the center of town where the old church from the 1600s was, and that's where the wedding was.
But I'm just saying, those mansions were only built for 8 weeks a year use.
Yeah,
you know.
But then we're unbelievable. We took
And
the tour.
Cornelius never even got there. He paid for it, paid for the breakers, never even got there because he died.
So,
All right, I can tell you're interested.
so I don't know who he is.
You don't even try to hide your eye roll anymore.
It's not eye roll. It's just like I'm trying
It's
to
just
think about.
boredom.
I'm trying to think of. I don't know Cornelius.
Cornelius
I thought-
Vanderbilt
Cornelius Vanderbilt. All right. No, I didn't know who he was.
of the
Did
Vanderbilts.
you know him, Rob?
No,
I didn't know.
I had no idea.
So-
I know the last name. I don't know the guy's first
You
name.
never heard of the mansion down in Asheville, North Carolina, the Biltmore?
I've heard of the Biltmore.
Right. That's Vanderbilt. And then the breakers in Newport, Vanderbilt.
I was just trying to add.
You know,
something that happened 30 years ago.
if you go to Grand Central Station, out on where Park and 42nd intersect, and you got the overpass and all that, you know New York City.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a statue right there in the middle.
All right. Look, don't try to make a jerk out of me here.
I'm
was
not.
trying to
I'm
add
trying
to
to-
the conversation, Rob. I was trying to add.
You
something,
brought it up.
Something to his conversation. Yeah, because
You brought it up.
You were talking about the landscape, so I wanted to bring up. I did see Newport, Rhode Island.
Right.
That
And
was
I'm
it.
trying to give you a little, history on the houses in Newport.
And why are you talking about New York City?
I thought Cornelius
Because
was in the Planet of the Apes. I
because-
didn't know he was in the. I didn't know his
Cornelius
first name.
Vanderbilt lived in New York City. And he's the one that designed the central transit system
Okay.
in New York. All right. I'm sorry.
now-
I overstepped.
No, you didn't. I just don't have.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
You go. No, we're just all over the map here. I'm trying to get. Let's get back to July 4th.
trying to get you focused.
So June 25th was another milestone. You know what that was, Dan?
Okay.
The 150th anniversary of Custer's last stand, June 25th, 1876.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
the worst.
Remember that? That
Probably
was
the worst-
when the Indians.
It was probably the worst military defeat in the history of our country.
well, it was
So
very famous.
by all means,
It was very
let's honor
famous.
you know
Well,
what's actually
the Indians were marching around out there having a party.
You
I
know
said
what's funny to
military.
me?
They should have
This
been.
is what's funny to
They
me.
won.
Out of the 250th anniversary of this country, not one news station has reported it, but Paul thinks it's
Thank you.
important enough to bring it up.
Thank you.
Well,
Not only that, on July 4th was the 200th anniversary of
John Adams and
John
Thomas
Adams
Jefferson
dying. It's
Dying.
on the
the
same,
same
day.
day.
At the 50th anniversary of the country, they died 200 years
Right.
ago. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting point, right, Rob? I just wanted to
18
bring
say
that
so.
up.
1836.
No, huh?
1836. The 26th.
1826.
1826.
It was the 200th.
Right. 1826.
Right.
Yeah.
So that happened on that day. So I wanted to remind you of that.
And they spoke on that day.
Yeah, they did. They said,
They exchanged letters that they received on that day, and then they died.
yeah. And John Adams was on all weekend too. It was pretty good watching that.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
It was a David McClellan book, I think. I read it. It was a great miniseries.
Yeah.
Giamatti was great.
So I mean, you had the backlash of anytime somebody wants to. First of all, this 250th anniversary was not a partisan event. This was everybody should be celebrating that, but everybody can't. And whoever was celebrating it or going to the shows or they were getting vilified, like Sammy Hagar. They were going to do a concert. The concert got canceled because of the weather, and they were giving him a hard time, I guess, on Twitter for like supporting the president. Well, first of all, he said, this is not about it doesn't matter who's president. It's a 250.
It wasn't Trump 250. It was
No,
America 250.
Exactly. So he says, I don't want to hear it. He goes, we had a bunch of bands that we were going to play, but it got canceled. And I don't have a problem with being there, And just like Ted Nugent did his thing. It's just this ongoing counterculture. Anything that's done.
So here's my take. They're really pissed that Trump was president
When
for
this
this
happened.
celebration.
You're right.
Okay, that's number one.
Yep.
Number two, it's not cool to like America. That's how they feel. That we should be apologizing every day for how successful this country is.
Yeah, it's just.
All right, because there are some dark periods in our country's history, like any country's
Just
history.
like, does Europe have any dark history?
I said any country.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. they won't. They didn't want to celebrate it because the people that wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, partially, not all the people, but some of them were slave owners.
Right.
Okay. But and although they put all men are created equal, they didn't treat everyone as equal. Well, there was a big economic reason for that. But the way they formed the Constitution allowed future leaders to fix the mistake.
Yeah. How about praising Lincoln for in the Congress that year in 1865, doing the 13th Amendment to allow, to free everybody.
Well, the Emancipation Proclamation was 1863, January 1st.
But the vote was.
And I consider that to be the legal end of slavery.
Well, it wasn't until the 13th Amendment, though.
But it took 2 years for it to take effect.
Right.
But
that's, that was one of the Civil War doctrine. I mean, that's what Lincoln was saying, all during any type of negotiation. They tried to come to us a couple times. Slavery is not going to exist when we win. That's it.
Correct. And, I got criticized. It was something I said during Juneteenth about the emancipation being actually 1863. And I made a comment about how the Democrats did everything they could to stop it.
Oh, yeah.
And for years, did everything they could to stop it. And somebody said to me, why did you have to bring up the Democrats? And I'm like, well, why would I say something that's inaccurate? The accurate history is the Democrats were against it.
They had to get
they voted against it.
They had to get 2/3 of the vote. They only got two. They got past it by 2, the 2/3, I think.
And they had to make some serious deals to get that.
They had to do that. Yep.
Because it was going to economically ruin the South. Because the entire economy of the South was based on free labor. But then that doesn't excuse the next 100 years. Okay? It was the Democrats that did the Jim Crow laws. But they're trying to wipe the slate clean because of the Civil Rights Act in 1965. Well, that took some doing as well. And that would have never happened if it wasn't for Kennedy.
That's true. Yep.
So, and that's 100 years later. And I got called out for that comment about the next 100 years. Well, the 100 years is 1865 to 1965.
Mm-hmm.
But because they go after the lower income vote and they're pro social services and giving all this money to the inner cities and what have you, they get the pass because they're buying their change of history. They want it. The thing that gets me is we're talking about it, so we might as well keep talking about it. These elections, these primaries that just took place with the Democratic Socialists. Okay, and that's a legit organization called the Democratic Socialists of America.
Right.
And the reason they've attached themselves to the Democratic Party, because for decades they've been building and indoctrinating, but they don't have their own party.
Right. They don't have their own party.
So they needed to infiltrate
the Democratic Party.
A party. And the Democratic Party leaned that way anyway, ever since FDR and his New Deal and the creation of Social Security and welfare and all that are more of a socialist, more of a left-leaning policies. So they attached themselves to the Democratic Party. Democratic Party is eating their own right now, and they have a real problem. But it's a scary thing. And we've been talking about this guy, Graham Plattner, for weeks.
Looks like he's going to back out.
He hasn't yet, though.
No, he hasn't.
But boy, they're all running, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they're not owning it. They're just removing their endorsement, rescinding their endorsement.
They're not condemning them, no.
Ro Khanna admits that he sat down with this guy and said, is there anything that's going to come back? You're going to win the primary. Is there anything going to come back? Because all the other stuff was acceptable. But he was worried about a real sexual assault charge, which then
Yes.
happened.
And it seems like there's a lot of moving parts with that whole.
But it's but to me,
That is just, Sue Collins. That's the Republican. Or
yeah. But she's really moderate. I mean, she doesn't like Trump. She,
Right.
but she's a Republican. The way I'm seeing it is they have two priorities. To win seats, regardless of who's sitting in them. They don't care
who's. They
They don't care who's sitting in them.
is.
because the other priority is to get the majority back. But Hakeem Jeffries is so either naive or in denial that if these people help them get the majority back, he's not going to be speaker.
No, they could put somebody else in.
That's right. And it's
They put all their eggs in the basket of those left wing candidates, and it's going to backfire on them. I think, especially if we get to the presidency again, because they're not going to have a candidate.
they're not even thinking about that yet.
No, they're not. They're just worried about starting impeaching again.
They want control. It's all about power.
Mhm.
And 28 is 2 years away, so they're not worried about that. They need power now. And they are hating the situation right now. They hate that Trump won the presidency again. They hate that the Republicans took over the House and Senate. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think the Republicans have taken advantage of it.
They haven't, because some of them are still being. They could get the SAVE Act passed in the Senate. They're messing that up because some of the Republicans are stubborn. The Democrats vote. They're not going to get their votes to climb over the aisle, and the Republicans are helping them. They
Because
can't get the 60 votes.
there's a lot of Republicans that don't like Trump.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But instead of worrying about, he's going to be gone in 2 years. Get the filibuster vote away.
They don't, everything they do is based on speculation and fear. They don't have any facts. They don't have any basis for their fears. It's just all speculation. Well, you don't know if Trump's going to do something and then he'll stay in another term. No, he's not. You know that W43 turned 80 this weekend.
Yeah.
Clinton turns 80 next month. Trump is 80.
Yeah.
Have you seen W and Clinton lately?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, especially Clinton. But I seen W he was on with his daughter on the show. His daughter has that show on
Yeah,
NBC.
he's starting to age. But Trump's not running again.
No, he's not.
And
Plus, you have to do an amendment to the Constitution, right?
yes,
So you can't just run.
it's an act of Congress.
You can't get him in. You can't
It
get.
takes an act of Congress.
Yeah.
And I think it's 60%. I think they
It's
need
60%.
60%. It's just like the Supreme Court a couple weeks ago did the birthright citizenship.
They got that wrong.
But here's the thing. No, I disagree with you. Because that's also an amendment. The Supreme Court is not allowed to overturn an amendment.
Yeah, but wasn't that for slavery? Wasn't that?
Yes. So the world has changed since that became an amendment in the last 150 years. So it needs to be changed. It's not the Supreme Court's job to change it. It's Congress's job to change it.
Yeah, you know what?
And that-
I didn't look at it that way.
And
but
that's
okay.
why they sent it back to them. They said, no, we're upholding the amendment because the amendment as it's written is legit. You want to change it? Well, there's a different building for that. But
How are they going to get this SAVE Act through the Senate? The only way they could do it is they separate it from other things.
they have to separate it.
And I don't know why they're not willing to do that.
I don't either. And you know what? I don't like combining bills. I've never liked it.
No, I don't. I don't.
But
like
it's
it
all
either.
part of the deal making.
Yeah, because you're trying to get a vote.
Right.
But if it's not working to get to the finish line, you got to change.
Then separate.
Because that's the most important thing is the integrity of the voting.
It's just about control. And really it goes back to, I know this isn't very entertaining conversation, but it goes back to term limits. There needs to be term limits. There has to be. Congress can't keep continuing with these 40, 50-year long members. They can't do it. And until but it has to be, to me, Congress will never vote for term limits because they're voting themselves out of a job. And it's too lucrative of a job. They make way too much money sitting in that seat. That's why they stay till they're 90 years old.
And they make more money.
Dianne Feinstein was almost 90 years old.
Somehow they make more money outside of the than their salary.
So that's why they need to keep their seats. I mean, come on. Congress people run every 2 years. All they do is run.
Yeah, because you get 1 year, you're running again.
And they spend millions to save a seat that pays $180 a year.
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous. It wasn't meant to be that way. But the way it should go is a national referendum. Because if it goes to a national referendum, then Congress has to listen.
So we're looking at, before I left the house, Dan, he's over in Turkey, the president.
Yes.
So now they're fighting. He's fighting with NATO again. He likes the Turkey president. I don't think he handled the NATO's that great. They need us. We need them. I can understand that he wants to call them out that they didn't support us in the Iran thing. I understand that part, but I think he went a little too far with it. I think he needs to, he made your point, bring it back in, reel it back in, and try to get together on some common ground. I think.
I don't entirely disagree with you, but the EU is pissed off because Trump didn't tell him what he was doing. Just like Congress is pissed off that Trump didn't tell him what he was doing. You can't.
Because it's a security risk.
Yes.
Now, the other thing is...
So anyway,
go ahead.
That's why they're pissed. But it's a two-way street. And the biggest problem Trump has is with him, there's never a happy medium.
All or nothing.
It's his way or the highway.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, right now, I wouldn't want anyone else to be in that job. But he's a bit of a bully.
But the thing that's going on now, just before I left the house, I don't know if you saw it, the ceasefire that we got, well, we had to bomb them again. They attacked the ship. We had to send missiles. So I don't know why it's not really a ceasefire because they're still hitting ships.
They'll never honor a ceasefire.
Well, then that's why I think they need to finish the job one way or another here. I don't think this is going to go on. You need to either come to a resolve for it. Unconditional surrender. You need to finish them off. I don't see any other way to do it.
It's going to be expensive. It's going to be expensive. And we're not going to get the help of
what do you think
European countries.
So what's the solution for? How do you think this is going to play out?
If I had the right idea, I'd be sitting in the Pentagon. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but you started it. They started it. We started it. Whoever started it, Israel, whatever. But now you got to finish it. So
yeah, I think so.
So the first thing you do is take out Cork Island because that's their economy. They're leaning on all the people that came out for the funeral, and they think that's their support and all that. Well, first of all, those people are all afraid, right? But they are going to have support because if you think about it, our country's divided every election. You'd never in your right mind think you would have ever voted for Kamala Harris. You think anyone who did is out of their minds. But that's half the country.
Right.
Okay, so you're always going to have those people.
The problem is when the election's over, they can't move on. Only we have to live with when Biden's there for 4 years, we got to live with it.
Well, it's just we react differently than they do. But, and they also have the media and journalism and all that on their side, so they have more weapons than we do to get our voices out.
Speaking of that, I thought I saw you. You weren't at the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift wedding, were you? I thought I saw a picture. Maybe it was Billy Joel. I saw.
I couldn't make it because of the surgery.
Yeah, I thought you were definitely.
I felt bad. I was Sandler's backup to officiate.
You would have had to give a couple of fazools for that one, no? You would have had to reach down deep for that one.
Yeah, listen, you do what you do for your friends.
Do what you can.
Yeah, to your friends.
Oh boy, it's great to have you back.
Rob,
right?
I'm sorry I missed the wedding.
Rob, you awake?
I think Rob dozed off.
Well, we'll be right back in a few minutes with another segment.
Take your headphones off and go see if Rob's awake. I think he fell asleep.
Bob, you all right?
Hey.
Hey, Rob, we're still on the air.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
Did I fall asleep?
Yeah. See, and you blame me for not listening to a show.
What were we talking about?
We put you to sleep.
I just ended it.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's over.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I was
We'll be
asking your
back.
opinion on something, you weren't
We'll be back with sports.
Bye.